Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal, Spanish Civil War, Amelia Earhart, and Fred Newman disappear off the coast of New Guinea. Earhart wanted to be the first woman to fly around the world. The year is 1937, and this Packard 12 was custom built. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive community. And I say community because this is so much more than a car channel. You guys bring so much information, stories, and experiences in the comment section below. We cover the classics, vintage, some exotics. We do engine episode families on Wednesdays. We talk the history, specs, and designs of these rolling works of art. If that sounds like a channel, nay, if that sounds like a community that you will totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. This 1937 custom Packard Invalid car is currently on display at Canton Auto Museum in Canton, Ohio. If you're ever out in Canton and you're looking for something to do, check this place out. For more information, direction, hours, ticket pricing, all of that will be linked in the description below, so check that out after the show. 1937 Packard model lineup was broken down into 2 Junior Series and 2 Senior Series models. The 2 Junior Series, brand new for 1937, the basement model 6-cylinder Packard 115C, followed by the 120 or Standard 8. Those were the 2 junior models. The 2 senior models were Super 8 and 12. Packard offered the 12 in 2 different time periods, 1916 to 1923, marketed as the Twin 6. Packard would revive the Twin 6 in 1933, and it would change its name to 12 to coincide with the rest of their offerings, like 8, Super 8, 12, in 2 generations. 1937 falls in the second generation, which had a production run from 1933 to 1939. The other crazy thing is Packard offered 50 models between those 4, like the 115C, the 120, the Super 8, and the 12. 50 models between all of them. Packard had a super confusing way of breaking down their models. 1937 was Series 15. The 12 could be had in 3 wheelbases. So you'll see 1506, which rode a wheelbase of 132 inches. 1507 rode a wheelbase of 139 inches, and 1508 rode a wheelbase of 144 inches. You could only get certain body styles in certain wheelbase configurations. 1508 could be had as a touring sedan, touring limo, convertible sedan, roadster coupe. Let's talk specs. It rides a wheelbase of 144.25 inches. It weighs 5,625 pounds. Price, this is an estimate, $4,500, which is equivalent to you spending $95,528.44 in the year 2023. Total 1937 Packard was 122,593 units, of which 12-cylinder cars was 1,300. Moving on to engine, only one engine on offer for the 12. 473 cubic inch displacement, flathead V12, 7.8 liters. It's good for 175 horsepower, 3,200 RPM, an estimated 287 pound-feet of torque at 1,600 RPM, with a bore of 3.4 inches and a stroke of 4.3 inches. Compression. This engine was offered in 3 compression ratios, 6, 6.4, and 7. It's built of cast iron, has 4 main bearings, uses 10mm spark plugs. Let's talk chassis, starting with the front suspension. Packard Safety Flex independent coil springs with Elliott ends. Rear suspension used live axle with semi-elliptic leaf springs. Brakes, 4-wheel hydraulic with Hydrovac brake booster. Steering, the ratio was 25.5 to 1. This car uses a frame, it's body-on-frame constructed. Let's talk styling. Just wow, look at how impressive this car looks. Look at all of the design elements going on in this bumper section. Not only is it layered, it's got black pinstriping. Nice overriders. This one has accessory lights, turn signals. Those ones look like. that were added after the fact. Look at this line in the fender. Coming back to the side mount. This one doesn't have a fancy hood ornament, but it has a fancy grille. This one is thermostatically controlled to open and close these fins or these vents. Just look at this front profile. Headlights. Look at this nice center line here. Look at how these headlights are mounted. I love all the layers going on. Packard hood isn't straight. There's lots of different angles and levers. Love the center line. Just look at the design of this hood. This one has a cowl vent. Also notice single piece windshield, wipers at the top. Side mounts are in these steel cases. Just look how the side mount is attached. Just look at this fender. Look at all of the pinstriping. I absolutely love that fender profile. Running boards are absolutely huge. Here's my foot for reference. I wear a size 12 shoe. It tapers back into the body back here, but that's still a pretty decent sized running board. Notice the light so you can see. Just look at these fenders. Pinstriping around the wheel wells in the rear as well, but it stops right here. Also just notice these wheel wells aren't really flared, but it has like a bead that goes around it. This car does have drip rails that run the length of the car. Also notice this one on top has this. I heard that there's chicken wire inside that. Mirrors are mounted on the side mounts themselves. Look at this line. Nice trunk rack. Up and getting inside, but before we do, just look at how gorgeous these handles are. A lot of design went into making those. This door is all framed out. Nice wood here. This feels like broadcloth. Armrest, which is, the armrest is also really nicely padded. Door handle to get out, window crank for the big window. It operates like this. This one has massive vent windows, which are crank operated with this crank handle here. And that's how absolutely huge they are. They're all framed out as well. Just take a gander at this interior. There's something really interesting in the back we're going to get to. coming down inside the pedal box down here. Emergency brake here, clutch, brake, gas pedal. Notice the steering wheel shaft goes in between the clutch and the brake pedal. Here is what over the hood looks like. Here is what first person over the hood looks like. I feel like $1 million looking over the hood of this thing. It's incredible. Underneath the steering wheel is in my crotch. And this is why we show these. It can spin freely, but it's there. I wear size 36 pants. You're the same size as me. It's going to be in your crotch too. On to the button switches and knobs, starting in the middle, but on the left-hand side and moving right. Gasoline gauge, coolant temperature, speedometer with odometer at the top, trip at the bottom, Packard crest, clock, amp meter, oil pressure, headlights, starter, key, lighter, hand throttle. Up above, there are sun visors. They look like this. Just notice how they are hinged. There is a rear view mirror there. Another sun visor over here for the passenger. There's an ashtray in the center. Look at these defrost. That's pretty cool. This one has his and her glove boxes. There's a glove box there. There's a glove box over here. This one has the cowl vent right here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 stops on that one. That's fully open. On to the glove box test. Here is our test subject. Here is my hand for reference. Here is the glove box in question. You would never know that massive camera can be stored in this glove box, but it can, and it does fit. And it shuts. Coming to the rear door and getting inside. But before we do, I don't know if I pointed this line out. Look at this line. Look at how it comes the whole way. But as it comes past this rear door, it starts tapering back into the body, and by the time it's here, it's back into the body. Also notice all of the pinstripe work. This has a bead that runs the top of the window section. Getting in the rear door. Just look at this door. Look at all the wood. Door handle to get out, window crank for the big window, and it operates like this. The window doesn't go all the way down most of the way. This door does not have an armrest on it, and it feels like a broadcloth material. It's a very rich feeling material, very nice. Look at the wheel arch back here and the hinge situation. Take a gander at this interior. So this one has jump seats. This is a jump seat, and this is a footrest. This car has a built-in wheelchair, and that's what this is. Really different, and it's only on the one side, and that's why there isn't a seat here, so that the person who couldn't use their legs could get Here is what the front looks like from the back. Let's take a quick gander at the greenhouse, or the pillar to glass ratio. This car is nice. It has an intimate feel because of all the curtains. Notice that curtain there? There is a privacy shade in the back. It has these nice lights, reading lights in the back. Everything has a really nice quality feel. The headliner is quality feel. The seats feel so quality. There is a light in the center. These windows do open, and they are vent style windows. So just check that out. There's a handle to hold on to right here. This is the lighter. And there is an ashtray right here. This would be the ash receiver. There's an ash receiver on this side. This is what I look like sitting in the back seat. I don't have a whole lot of headroom, but my leg situation is perfect. I'm sitting in the wheelchair back here. There isn't a chair in front of me. If I move over behind this seat here into the regular seat, which is honestly better. I sunk down in here like I'm sitting in a nice cushioned leather chair, but this isn't a leather chair. Very comfortable seats back here, and they're the plushiest fabric. Like, this is the softest fabric that I've ever sat on. It's comparable to, say, like a mid-80s velour. It's very thick, very plushy, but it's a cloth material. And I still have tons of room. There's my knee situation. Tons of room in between my knee and the back of this jump seat. If the jump seat wasn't here, this would be the biggest car. And I just said that with the Cadillac V16, but this one really is the biggest car that I've been in, because if this seat wasn't here, I would have maybe 4 feet to the back of that chair. That's how much space there is between my knee and the back of that chair. It might be, yeah, it's like 3 or 4 feet. Like, that's insane. So, super useful feature. This folds down, so if you wanted to use this as a footrest, you could. So, distribution of space isn't even. There isn't as much space in the second row and or jump seat. I have fingertip length between my knee and the back of this chair, but not only that, you sit rather upright. This is what I look like sitting in the second seat, and I'm sitting rather upright. It's not as comfortable as sitting in the very, very back. Those seats are the most comfortable seats in this car. The front seat is even a little bit cramped. Like, the way that the steering wheel comes out, there isn't a whole lot of room. It's very squished. This car is weird in the sense that in the front, it not only feels cramped, like the steering wheel is in your crotch, but it isn't as wide either. The further back this car goes, it gets wider and wider. So, see how narrow it is up here? And then look back here. Look at how wide. Look at how wide that is. And I mean, it's not drastic, but it kind of sort of is. I mean, should get a tape measure and measure how much space there is, because it is a big difference. This is what it looks like with both doors open. Notice this pillar here. It's for the doors to connect into, but it also has felt on the other side, or not felt, broadcloth. It's nicely, just look at how this overextends on each side. So just check this out. These, you can open these to allow more air into the engine to cool your engine off. It's got 2 rows of them. So that's what it looks like with all of them open. It gives it a different Look. There it is. Absolutely gorgeous V12. Fuel pump. This one's got 2 belts. Fan with shroud. Radiator sits in this area. That is the starter. Look at this massive pipe that comes up here to the top. Carburetor sits in the middle. Distributor sits in the front middle. Just look at this hood profile, how it's designed. And I absolutely love this part here. They covered that so it doesn't, so if it hits something, it's the edge. A lot of people won't tell you that the edges are sharp, so they put these on there so you don't scratch your paint, which is a really nice feature. The hood isn't terribly heavy, but it is kind of heavy for what it is. So the generator's on this side. Notice it has 2 belt pulleys running it. Look at the dipstick here. I just think that's so cool. The dipstick has a nice quality feel to it even. Oil, you fill the oil there. Nice big horns. Distributor, carburetor, steering shaft. On the positive side, this car is pure class, and I joke with my wife all the time, if we ever make it in life, I'm not buying a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or a Bentley or a Rolls Royce. None of those cars have the presence that this car has. And it makes me so sad that they're not pushing luxury in the way that they used to push luxury with things. His and hers glove boxes in this car, V12 power, super plushy seats, everything is analog. This car isn't really about the driver, but the driver, man, the driving position in this car was great, other than the steering wheel being in my crotch. Against it, high running cost, high insurance cost. Find people who can work on these without a computer telling them what's wrong with it. That's really hard to do with any car nowadays. Pre-war cars keep losing value because the people that love these cars are moving on, and we have to get more people in the classic car hobby. It's super sad that these are being overlooked and consequently forgotten. These are so much better than just about any car that's really hot right now. When you shut the doors, it's like shutting bank vault doors. Now it's time for Would You Rather. 2 scenarios today. In the first scenario, would you rather have a 1937 Pierce Arrow 7-passenger touring sedan or a 1937 Packard 12 7-passenger touring sedan or a 1937 Lincoln V12 7-passenger touring sedan? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now moving to the second scenario. Would you rather have a 1937 Cadillac V12 2-door Roadster or a 1937 Packard V12 2-door Roadster or a 1934 Franklin supercharged air-cooled V12? Gonna leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to give the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below or check out our Facebook group I call the After Party. That is honestly the best way to get a hold of me, is join the Facebook group and send me a direct message. If you don't have Facebook and would like to reach me, send me a telegram. I mean email. I call emails telegrams because I think that they just take forever. There has to be an easier way to send people messages other than email. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, thank you all so much for all the support. I really appreciate it from you guys. Real quick, I'm going to Hershey. I'm going to try to go for all 3 days. If you want to meet me, we could hang and talk cars in person if you want to. More about that when it gets closer. Just know I appreciate all the support, and until next time, toodaloo! Beef bologna, ba da bum 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 ba, so bad for me. Ba da bum 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 ba da da, beef bologna. Sometimes it just turns out that way.